5-minute penalty to Chicago, a game misconduct, and then Manson having words with Steven. And now Butcher gets into it. We're going to have a brawl, folks. Stand by.
Yo, what up, everybody? Tyler Cash here.
I don't know why it's so funny to start.
It's hilarious because this has been a holdup in trying to getting this episode going, but it is another episode of Fourth Line Goon Hockey Podcast. I'm hanging out, just took an amazing bath, a little detox bath, having myself a Topo Chico, chatting hockey.
Isn't it Topo Chico?
Topo, whatever. How it's like tomato, right? Potato.
I haven't told both ways.
Either way, nobody ever says potato or tomato, and I don't think I would trust anyone that would say that. So,
Facts.
Yeah. So, Tommy, how you doing, bud?
Fucking busy as ever. Holidays are coming up. Into the swing of things. Gonna have some fun in a couple weeks. 3 weeks or so with you, Blues, back in Vegas for a little pre-Christmas showdown.
Shit!
That'll be a good time.
Yeah, they got some revenge to do for sure. You just got back from where? Hawaii?
Hawaii, yes, sir.
Oh my God, I'm jealous, dude. How long were you there for?
There's like 5 days or so, give or take. It was great. I mean, there's like half the time it was sunny and like high 70s. Other time it was like rainy and cloudy, but it's on Maui. A lot of cool shit to see, a lot of cool stuff to do.
Do you do one of those all-inclusive resorts with all the booze and the food, or what?
No, it's not really a thing there. But they had like ended up doing like a luau one of the nights, which was like pretty much like all-inclusive for the whole luau. So you just kind of get hammered, eat what you want, drink what you want. And then by the time it's over, you're feeling pretty good. So did some hikes, did some beach time, pretty solid stuff. Pretty much saw like all of the island of Maui, traveling around and driving and shit. Like there's literally 1-lane roads that's like wide, the width of one car, where literally like there was a row of like 30 cars that had to literally back up in a convoy, like around like 3 curves for like us to go through. Like it was like a shit show. But the island's small in some areas. That's how it is. So
you rented a car?
Yeah, I rented a car, jumped around the island. Pretty cool stuff. I mean, some touristy spots for sure. Some like, I'll probably never drive this road again type of a thing too. But definitely fun time. If you haven't gone, go for sure.
I've been wanting to go so long. I want to go to Turtle Bay from Forgetting Sarah Marshall and go visit all. Did you go to Lazy Joe's? Did you go like look at any of those spots for the movie?
No, nothing on my side. It was more just like, get up, let's go hike, let's go grab some good grub, stuff like that. Just really wasn't focused on the more, I feel like, touristy stuff. More like just stay outside, get shit done, enjoy our time. That type.
What kind of cuisine is it? Is it like amazing seafood or is it barbecue?
I mean, it's a little bit of kind of across the board. I mean, there's like tons of tropical fruits. There's your typical like seafood stuff, fresh fish, stuff that's grown on the island, like cows and chicken and whatnot too. Like chickens roam around literally everywhere. Like every place you go, there's at least like one wild chicken just chilling somewhere, which is kind of cool. But a lot of like passion fruit, a lot of like guava, some other like tropical fruits. Really, really good stuff. Highly recommend the food.
Awesome. So speaking of fresh fish, this is a nice little leeway into the Seattle Kraken and talking about some hockey. Boy, dude, the Seattle Kraken are nuts right now. Based off of point percentage, they are first in the Pacific as of right now, or as of last night, when the Vegas Golden Knights lost in regulation to the Pittsburgh Penguins. They took over that spot and they're looking insane. But the real question here is it real or is it some sort of smoke and mirrors situation? I've brought up multiple times that their upcoming schedule is really going to show the hockey community whether or not they're the real deal. They have coming up tomorrow, they're playing the Florida Panthers, then the Montreal Canadiens, which should be a walk in the park, although, they do have the youth and they are no team to be scawed at, right? But still,
they're a decent team.
Yeah, but not exactly where I'm getting at with here. They have the Florida Panthers twice in a week. Then they play the Lightning. the Hurricanes, the Jets, who are red hot right now, which we should point out they're what, like, is that real? Was that real odds for them to win the cup? Like the Jets are favored right now?
I don't think so. I think whatever you sent was some bullshit.
Okay, well,
The Atlanta Thrashers are on there. Come on, it's some bullshit.
It's not credible, but the Jets are red hot right now, so they would be a team to worry about. Obviously, then they go and play the Blues and the Canucks and the Flames, so that's a little bit easier of a schedule. But I really think that we're going to be able to tell a lot from these upcoming games against Florida, both Florida teams and the Hurricanes, if they can hold their own. I mean, that's gonna tell a lot. But I think Martin Jones has been their starter, right? Like Grubauer is kind of taking a back seat, and I don't feel confident that Martin Jones can carry this team much further.
I mean, hey, they've done it so far, right? If that's assuming that's the case. I mean, yeah, I think Jones is he's 12-4. But like what's hilarious is like his goals against is 2.9, his save percentage is 0.893. Like that's like borderline, yeah. I mean, like mediocre numbers at best.
Sounds about right with Martin Jones, and we really shouldn't go any further without talking about their game against the LA Kings.
Oh my god!
Right?
Yeah, no kidding.
What was it? It went into overtime and they wound up winning 9-8.
Went into overtime, tied at 8. Yeah, 9-8. Fucking wild. That game made no damn sense. But yeah, I mean, so much shit. I feel like with them, it's like it's such a unique thing too. Like looking at the standings a bit too, right? Where it's like their goal differential too, like it's not like amazing, but like it's solid, and that's where you kind of I feel like see like a good team. Like they have the 6th best goal differential in the league at +17. I mean, and what's more unique is they're winning more on the road than they are at home. They're 8-4 on the road. They're 5-3-1 at home. So regardless of who you're playing, if you're winning on the road, excuse me, I got that wrong. They're 7-4-2 at home, 8-1-1 on the road. But still, 1-7 in a row. If you're winning more on the road than you are at home, you're clearly doing something pretty damn good, especially if you have winning records on both sides of that. But I mean, yeah, to be scoring quite a bit. I mean, they have the 6th best offense in the league. Their defense is kind of right in the middle in terms of goals against. Like, I don't know. It's one of those things too where you kind of flip the script, and like, a lot of these guys have had, the chance to kind of play together at least for a year now, right? You have Matty Beniers, exceeding expectations there, while you got Shane Wright. Granted, it's his first year, can't buy playing time unless it's in the AHL. Like it's just a year that you just kind of look at stuff and it's like, yeah, it's 2022 and Martin Jones is your starting goalie and you're winning games. Just doesn't seem right, but they're making it work.
Well, what's crazy to me is Brandon Tanev was like one of their best players last season, and he's middle of the pack. Same with Yanni Gourde. 13 points for Yanni Gourde. That's 3 goals, 10 assists. And then, all the guys that you expected, even Schwartz, only 15 points in 23 games. Like this, that's like the middle of their roster. The real story has been
Go ahead. You're good.
Yeah, I was going to say the real story is Burakovsky. 9 goals, 16 assists for 25 points. I don't know who had that on their bingo card, but I'm a little surprised regardless of him being a Stanley Cup champ. I mean, that's just – he was more of that filler role.
He had 60 points last year with the Avalanche, for what it's worth. I mean, yeah, you're probably playing the likes of McKinnon and Landeskog and have Makar helping dish stuff out too, but I put up 61 points last year and probably like a fringe second line, top 6, top 9 role. I mean, I think that's pretty damn good. And I think it maybe was kind of his like coming of age season, I feel like at that point where, I mean, even before that consistently, he was putting up same production in 2019, 2020, 2021 with the shortened season. And when he got hurt too, like similar production, if you map it out over a full course of a season. So it's not like it's out of the blue, but I mean, to your point too, Brandon Tanev, like he's not a guy that scores a lot, but he was hurt pretty much the majority of last year as well. Either way, I mean, these guys, you look up and down this lineup and you're like, all right, Eberle did good with the Islanders. Vince Dunn had some good fun with the Blues for a bit. McCann, Schultz, kind of same with like what Schultz was like, what Pittsburgh, kind of like Edmonton, Washington type stuff. These are guys that, you kind of see, and they're like, all right, these guys are decent, but I think that's what kind of makes them dangerous. Is like, I look up and down their lineup, and I'm like, I don't see a guy who's like the face of the Kraken. But it reminds me of like the Blues depth over the last few years, where it's like they don't really have a star player. Like Tarasenko can score some goals here and there, but like it's not amazing in my opinion. He's dropped off this year for what it's worth, but it's like to have that depth and to have guys who can play up and down the lineup and can consistently put up 50, 60 points across 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 guys. That's a hell of a lot more dangerous to me than having a McDavid and a Draisaitl and then guys who can't put together 50 points outside of that.
It reminds me a lot of another expansion team that had a bunch of third liners.
It does.
And did really well their first year. I mean, granted, this is the Seattle Kraken's second year. And I mean, lightning's not going to strike twice, right? So they needed some time to figure it out. The only difference is they do not have, like you said, the face of the franchise, like somebody that can carry this team or even be, do they even have a captain? Because I know Giordano was their captain. Obviously,
sure.
he's playing in Toronto now. So they don't have that face of the franchise like Marc-Andre Fleury, who was also in the stride of his career able to steal some games. The goaltending is what scares me. Martin Jones has always been Swiss cheese. How many memes have we seen about Martin Jones? Like, I feel like the beach ball goaltender meme has just got Martin Jones written all over it. Like that just gets pulled out every single time. Yeah, he's winning, but his save percentage is horrendous. So I don't know. And then Grubauer, he gambled on himself, and man, he had a horrible season last year, and he's in that backup role. So I don't know. Goaltending is a major question mark for this team still, and yeah, they have all these guys, middle of the pack, something to prove, but I don't know. I just don't think it's going to be a long-term situation, but wow, what a story. Because I did have them going to the playoffs. Did you in our earlier episodes, did you pick them to make playoffs?
No. They weren't there yet, in my opinion. I mean, it's still early for what it's worth, but I mean, it's hard to ignore what's happening. But yeah, I mean, I was just looking at Martin Jones memes, and like, yeah, one of the first ones is like trying to make the blocker save with the beach balls in the net.
Yeah, he's become a meme. He's Swiss cheese and net, and yeah, his stats aren't great. 9-8 victory with the LA Kings, and let's talk a little bit about that, because there's another story that we can build off of that, and that's Cal Peterson. He lets in 4 goals on 16 shots. Boom, we are waiving you, my friend. We're sending you down to the AHL. He has 2 years left with signing bonuses. I can't recall off the top of my head how much he's getting paid, but I know it's a $5 million AAV. The Kings knew no one was going to touch that, right? So they waive him, I guess, to save a little bit of money and to send him down for a conditioning stint. I mean, what are they thinking they're going to build with this confidence sending him down to the AHL like that?
I mean, they don't save any money. It's just they can replace him with a league minimum guy, and it's a wash. That's really it. I mean, it's interesting. Yeah, I mean, he just kind of got paid a little bit, 3-year, $15 million deal. I think they just his mechanics just aren't right. That's kind of, I think, is the game plan. It's like, we paid you, you're gonna come back up. There's no doubt about it. Go fix your shit, because we're gonna need you. I think that's probably the message, and especially like if you're a Kings fan, you're like, well, Jonathan Quick is, he wants to keep playing. He's not the Quick of the prime by any means. He's 36. He's having not so great year either. That's kind of the mentality there.
What are you gonna do though? You gonna waive Jonathan Quick?
I mean, that's
not gonna happen.
Sure, but like my point is, like, if you're a Kings fan, you're like, all right, well, we got Jonathan Quick in this third string goalie. I don't know who they called up off the top of my head, but I mean, what are you gonna do? I mean, this guy's got to get confidence back. There's no way around it, and AHL is the place to do it. He's not gonna get playing time right now. He had like the second worst save percentage, I think, in the NHL. Like 860 or 870 or some horrible number. 868 was the save percentage, which is brutal. But he had a 500 record. Go figure. Yeah, I mean, it's only his third full year. Yeah, he just got his bridge deal. You got to get him right. You don't have a choice.
You know what I think it is? I think it's an attitude problem. And we'll never be able to confirm this because we're not flies on the wall of that locker room, right? Like we're not in the know when it comes to LA Kings and how they operate as a team. But you let in 4 goals on 16 shots. You arguably did just as bad, if not a little bit better than what Jonathan Quick did, right? And he's probably promised the keys to the car, right? He's the younger guy. They're like, you're the future. Quick's going to ride out his contract, probably retire an LA King. You are the future. And they pull him, right? Which is, I mean, yeah, he didn't have a great display of goaltending, but clearly he wasn't the only problem. Defense is a huge issue there. I mean, as when he was pulled, they let in another 5 goals. So, right, it's the same kind of performance from both a veteran goaltender and a young guy. So, what if he, just said, why did this happen? Questioned it, maybe stepped up a little bit. Like, I needed more time in that net. Maybe we would have won. I don't know. Like, to me, it seems like a pretty hasty move to send a guy down that you put all your eggs in your basket for.
I don't think so. I don't think it's overreaction. I mean, he had a 4+ goals against in this month. He had a 3.55 goals against in October, I believe. I'm sorry, October it was 4.1. November is 3.55. Like, it's not much better. Like, can't blame it all on him, sure, but this is an opportunity where it's like, we need you to win games. You're splitting the net with Jonathan Quick. That's the game plan this year. Jonathan Quick's older. He's not gonna be able to take the whole net himself. Maybe he runs it in the playoffs, whatever. I don't know. But we need you, and you got to fix your shit because we might have some holes on defense, so you might not, have the need there or be as good as we want to be here. But at the same time, it's kind of like, go fix your shit. Like, we'll have some scrub come up. The third string goalie might not be a scrub or not. Again, I don't know who it is, but like,
yeah,
have some guy come up.
That?
Have some guy come up. Fill in. It's probably going to play. Best case scenario, you get slightly better play than you're getting right now, I feel like, in the long run, and you end up bringing Kyle Pedersen back up, and all is good. It's Blues legend Phoenix Copley. That's whose backup is. Yeah, I mean, journeyman between the Blues, the Caps, the Bruins, I believe on their AHL squad as well. Yeah, I mean, I think that's really it. You got
what wasn't Phoenix Copley technically on the Washington Capitals when they won the Cup? I think we've had that talk before, whether or not he's on the Cup.
Yeah, I think he was, but yeah, he was on the team, but I don't think he played. He didn't play at all in the playoffs. But I think he also was the goalie that Jordan Binnington fought in the AHL when they're on the same team. While Binnington was loaned, I believe, to the Providence Bruins, which is funnier in its own right. But
I had no idea. That's crazy.
Yeah, super super wild. But yeah, I mean, I think it makes sense. You got a guy who has some NHL experience. He's played well in the AHL. Call him up, fix your shit. We'll revisit this in 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Just get your mechanics right. I think that's kind of what the message has to be.
So I don't feel like he's the only goaltender that's having issues in the league right now. There's a lot going on, and I feel like it would be wrong if we didn't compare him slightly to Jacob Markstrom, who is obviously had one of the most amazing seasons last year. I think he led the league in shutouts.
Yeah, right.
And I was saying from the very beginning, this is a flash in the pan. Yeah, he's a good goaltender, but he's playing for a great team, like a true contender. The Calgary Flames last year were a true contender for the Stanley Cup. And yes, he had a great year, but he was never going to replicate it at his age. He's 32. He's not, through his prime necessarily. But this year so far, 17 starts. He's got 8 wins and 6 losses for a 2.97 goals against average and a .889 save percentage. He's not even in the 900s. It's looking brutal for him. I don't know did you see that meme, another meme that's going around where he's way out and they're like goaltending, am I right? And he's straight up out there by the blue line. Meanwhile, the rest of his team's trying to block the net from like the game the other night. I mean, what do you think's going on with that team? because I know you and I got a little side bet going on whether or not they make the playoffs, and they're not looking too great these days.
Oh yeah, I mean, you switch out a core guy and bring in some other people, like it's going to change the dynamic for sure. I mean, they're not out of it by any means. I think they're in a wild card spot at this point, if I remember correctly, or right on the cusp of it. Yeah, they had like 1 point out, but yeah, I mean, you look at Markstrom, you compare him to Kyle Pedersen. He has a GAA of almost 0.8 of a goal a game better, or save percentage is 3% better. Flip side of that too is like you have Jordan Binnington. He has a 3.11 goals against and a 8.99 save percentage, and he's 9-9. So look at it how you want. I mean, I don't think the shutdown defense is the style anymore. I don't think the amazing goaltending is really what is expected of goalies in this day and age. I just think things have changed too much where there's a lot of scoring in the league for better or for worse. And I think that's inflating numbers a bit more over the last couple of years, personally, for me. I mean, granted, again, if we go and look at the leaders of this year right now on the goalie side, I mean, you have, looking at games played, it's like Linus Ullmark, Logan Thompson, actually on the top here, let me make sure I'm looking at this right in terms of save percentage. It's actually played enough games. Yeah, sorry. Ullmark for Boston, Sorokin for Islanders, Hellebuck, Matt Murray was actually up there in a short time that he's played. But yep. I mean, there's guys in the 900s that have been great, but I just feel like there's this tier of goalies where it's like there's a solid 5. You could be like, these guys are rock solid consistently. And then outside of that, it's like on any given night, who knows what you're going to get? I think that's kind of what it's evolved into.
I think you're on to something with saying we're kind of in this slump, or honestly, the opposite. What would be we're in this period of time where goals are getting scored. Like, it's just insane. I see a lot of people, to kind of wrap this into the whole goaltending aspect. You mentioned Logan Thompson up there. He got named NHL's Rookie of the Month. This is the first time that a goaltender has been named Rookie of the Month in quite some time. I can't even remember when it has been. It was some ridiculous stat, like within a decade. And he has an 8-2-0 record, but his goals against is 2.88, and the save percentage is barely above 900, 0.909. Like, nothing insane. He's just winning games. And as you said, these guys are finding the back of the net more this year. I'd be interested to hear that stat. Like, obviously we're still early. We're about almost a little over a third of the way, somewhere in that ballpark of the season. So I'd be interested to look back after this year and see if more goals have been scored this year as opposed to years past, even in recent memory. But, either way, kudos to Logan Thompson, doing great. Yeah, he's been lit up a little bit more these past couple of games, and that's messed his stat a little bit, but, love to see that.
I mean, that's the thing too, is like, I feel like it's a much different Rookie of the Year class this year too, where I feel like you have everyone who thought like Shane Wright was going to come in and do great, drops to 4th, hasn't done crap, for whether it's coaching or mismanagement, who knows? But then it's like, it's really like Logan Thompson as of now, and then like Matty Beniers. Like, those are really the 2 that are running with it, and outside of that, it kind of falls off pretty heavily. So, I mean, those are your front runners, obviously, as of right now for the Calder. But yeah, I mean, we'll see how it plays out.
What's up, Goons? Tyler Cash here from the Fourth Line Goon Hockey Podcast, interrupting today's episode to talk about our newest sponsor, Jesse Ray's Barbecue. Las Vegas barbecue has become a style of its own over the years. To sum it up with one word, it's perfection. Come try their award-winning slow-smoked ribs, chicken, pulled pork, hot links, and brisket. When I stopped in, I made sure I ordered the Fortress, and it was delicious. Let me tell you what, come in hungry or come with a bunch of friends, because there's a lot of delicious food on that plate. They offer barbecue catering, dining in, takeout, delivery, and they also sell their award-winning barbecue sauce by the bottle. They just opened a location in Henderson at 308 North Boulder Highway. And of course, they have their original location located right behind Mandalay Bay at 5611 South Valley View Boulevard. They're open Sunday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. They're open Friday and Saturday from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. For delivery, call 702-541-5546. Once again, that number is 702-541-5546. You can find him on Instagram and Twitter at Jesse Ray's Barbecue. And let me tell you what, ever since I moved out here to the desert 2 years ago, no other barbecue compares. Jesse Ray's is the real deal. Check it out. You will not be disappointed. We already know Schlafly Brewing Company is back to sponsor another season of Fourth Line Goon Hockey Podcast. But did you know that Schlafly is responsible for some of the best tasting craft beer I've ever had? No joke. One of my favorites they offer is the White Lager. Lagers are usually bright and clear. Theirs takes the focus away from those qualities by emphasizing an orange zest and silky finish. Their rare style dates back to the Middle Ages, where beer was matured in deep vaults for months before emerging smooth and rich in vitamins. It remains unfiltered from keg to cup, bringing to life a German tradition with a twist. My family is German, and we love this beer. They also have the Just a Bit Hazy IPA. Their coffee stout dropped on Halloween weekend. Make sure you check them out on www.schlafly.com. That's SCHLAFLY.com. You can find them at Schlafly on Twitter or Schlafly Beer on Instagram. Schlafly Beer. Drink Mo Beer. Are you looking to sell your home? How about finally buying your dream home? Well, then look no further than Sin City Properties and my boy Adam Neglick, the smooth skating agent from Realty One Group. This is a true story, not just an ad read. My mom recently moved halfway across country from St. Louis, Missouri to fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada, and Adam was the man. Not only did he help her find her dream home, he made sure it was a smooth transition financially. He even helped us move. Now, I don't know how you guys feel about dealing with realtors, but a lot of times they're uppity, they're hard to talk to. That's not my boy Adam. He's a beauty to talk to. He's a hockey fan. He's a great guy. So let me put you in touch with him. Go to sincityproperties.com or you can call him at 702-335-2156. Once again, that's Adam Neglick, the smooth skating agent from Realty One Group. You can go to sincityproperties.com. You can get a free market analysis and he'll help you find your dream home today.
All right, so I thought it might be fun this episode to 10 players against each other, right? Like both current and of all time. Just pick two random players, maybe guys that we think might have a similar game, and discuss whether or not we think one would be better than the other. So I put out a question out on Twitter. I asked everybody like, hey, make me choose between two hockey players. And we're going to kind of pick and choose through this. And then maybe we might throw a few at each other as well. But the first one would be exciting and talked about because we can kind of loop this into our last episode, which was the Mount Rushmore of NHL enforcers. If you haven't checked that episode out, it's doing great on YouTube. It's doing awesome in our numbers. So go back and watch it. It's definitely a fan favorite. I'm excited about it. Maybe you might have some opinions on that. But to kind of tie it all in, it looks like Mike Lang LV on Twitter wants us to pick who essentially who would win a fight, I feel like. And that's Marty McSorley or Ryan Reeves.
It's a good question. I mean, it's hard to go against McSorley. We got to be honest. I mean, yeah, we didn't see much of him growing up, maybe as much. Obviously, it's probably more biased to Reeves. I mean, what McSorley's last year was like right before, like year 2000 was like his last season. So it's been like, 20 plus years since he's played. He also potted 300 something points. Ryan Reeves couldn't sniff that any day. He played 100 years in the league. So, I mean, rounded player, I gotta go McSorley. Even in a fight, I feel like if they were at their peak and they were both playing at the same time, I think I go McSorley. It's hard to question it.
First of all, different point of time for the sport. So
Sure.
I'm not even gonna try to touch base and defend Reeves when it comes to points, because a lot of those tough guys were still able to contribute to the game. I don't know when it happened, but it seemingly made that switch where it was like, yo, you're a tough guy now. Don't even bother with the puck. Like, just throw your weight around.
In 92, 93, McSorley put up 41 points with 399 PIMs. That's insane.
That doesn't happen. Berube had an awesome record too. Like, he was able to score some goals. Like, there was like moments in his career where I feel like he was potting like 30 to 40 goals, which is, I mean, to be a tough guy, especially in that era, like that's just insane. Like I can't even wrap my head around that.
All
I
right,
mean,
well,
it's
he scored 61 in his career. So what makes you feel any better? I don't know. Maybe you're mixing him up with someone else.
oh really? Berube
Yeah.
scored 61 total.
Yeah.
Wow, what was his best season? What was his best season?
Best season was, I mean, they're back to back. 8 goals, 9 assists for 17 points, or 6 goals, 11 assists for 17 points.
Okay, so call me on my shit there. Okay, for sure. But yeah, I feel like the guys could score a lot better. Like it was more of a well-rounded game at that point. Like being a tough guy was just unanimous with the sport. It wasn't that you were an enforcer and that's all so much. I feel like
I feel like it was out. I mean, it was opposite because you had like guys like Tony Twist,
no.
you had guys like Reed Lowe, you had guys.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know, John Scott. Like those guys didn't score for shit. They were there for one reason, to enforce the game.
John Scott, Tony Twist, Kelly Chase. These guys all were in the 90s. I'm talking about like
John Scott
80s earlier.
3 years ago. No.
Well, no. That proves my point more. That it's more of a current idea that if you are an enforcer these days, you're just expected to fight people, which is why they're kind of dying down. I'm saying that back in the day, like when dudes wouldn't even wear buckets, it was just you were a tough guy. Like hockey was a tough guy sport. You
I
had
feel
to
like
have that.
The enforcer title or whatever has changed. Like an enforcer now is someone who can be a Tom Wilson is your ideal enforcer. That's it. Like we said before, like that's your enforcer present day that people ideally want. This doesn't exist, and I don't like it, but that's what it is.
I call those guys instigators. I don't call them enforcers. Like the
that's
Tom
the problem,
Wilson. Yeah, they're not just there to fight. They can actually put the puck in the net, like the Tom Wilsons, the little rats like Marchand, or even Tanner Jeannot, like kind of the more new guys that can actually put the puck in the net. But yeah, anyways, to answer that, to surprising answer, yeah, I think McSorley would win in a fight. I don't think that they're built quite the same. Revo is the last of a dying breed, but I don't know how well he would stand up back then. Maybe if there was a time machine, we could find this out, or a simulation like they did in Rocky Balboa, right? They're like, okay, who would win in their prime? But yeah. So moving on, I like this one a lot actually. Donna Dew, Patrick Waugh, or Marty Brodeur, St. Louis Blues legend.
I prefer neither. I prefer Dominic Hasek personally, but
correct answer. Moving on.
I had to pick between the two. I mean, what? Correct me if I'm wrong. Brodeur won more cups than Waugh, but Waugh had like a better record overall in stats, I believe. I think it's something along those lines. I mean, if we're going for individual talent and like who do I if I'm looking at it as like who do I want in my net in a game 7, I think it's gotta be Patrick Waugh for what it's worth. Like he can just steal anything away at any given moment.
I'm with you on that as far as talent goes, but I like Marty Bordeaux's commercials better. So my vote's gonna go to Marty Brodeur. I've always been a Brodeur fan. I think he's great. He seems like a good dude. He brings a little bit of character to your locker room, right? Like I feel like if I was gonna name one of them captain, which I know you can't do anymore, that I would go Marty Brodeur. So just based off of biased answer and what I think he would bring to a team overall, that's what I'm gonna go with is Brodeur.
Also, yeah, stats wise, actually Brodeur was better across, but I should have known. Most winningest goaltender, way low, significantly lower GAA and save percentage. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Patrick Waugh just has that flair factor, I guess. He also did. I got it backwards. Waugh won more cups, 4-3, but had a little bit weaker stats. That's what it was. So I had it reversed. So still sticking with Waugh either way.
Brodeur. So here, one of my favorite Twitter names, who's been going strong right now, is Logan Thompson's a goalie on Twitter. He is, in fact, a goalie, and he's an award-winning goalie at this point. He could potentially be a trophy-winning goalie by the end of the season.
Don't get ahead of yourself.
We'll see. I like this one, though. Chris Chelios or Zdeno Chara?
Ooh. I fucking hated Chelios watching him growing up. That's tough.
Fuck that guy, right?
I mean, Chelios. Again, if we're going like prime, again, these guys, I mean, to a degree played different eras and whatnot, but like I think Chelios. I really do. Like guy was just something. I don't know.
I mean, if it makes you feel any better, I hated the guy growing up as well, and I think that's what I'd be leaning towards. He's in the Hockey Hall of Fame already. Not saying Chara won't find his way there, but he's in the 100 greatest players as voted by NHL alumni. He born the same year as my mom, by the way, which is just insane to think about.
Yeah, it is.
The guy, had an amazing career, and I hate to say it, across the board with all very respectable franchises when it comes to where the hockey foundation came from. All original six, by the way, too. Montreal, Chicago, and Detroit.
Hey, don't leave out the Thrashers there at the end.
So what's crazy enough is he's not. There it is at the end. 7 games. Holy shit. Chris Chelios played 7 games for the Atlanta Thrashers.
No, the Trashers. It's pretty much what it is.
0 points. 0 points. Dude, that's incredible. Wow, yeah. Okay. So original 6 until the 1 expansion.
Atlanta Thrashers legend. He also has 69 power play goals in his career. Nice.
Nice. Very nice. Very nice. His points, 948 points in 1,651 games. Gotta respect that. I mean, obviously on the flip side, Chara, also nothing to scoff at. Did he win multiple cups in Boston or just the one? I think it's just the one, right? Yeah. And he was the captain. So you got to respect that as well. Monster, also 6'9", very nice. Very nice. 250 pounds.
I think that's pretty much everything we had for the most part, or time before. Anyways.
Yeah. Wow, we already. I was worried we were gonna have anything to talk about.
Yeah, here we are.
So we'll do our best to answer your questions that you guys had next episode. Thank you guys so much for supporting us. Make sure you follow us on YouTube, Spotify, all that great stuff, and